Good morning. Oh, it's New Year. We've got to do better than that. Good morning. That's a lot better than that. Great. I want to welcome you back. I hope you had great holidays. All of you. How many of you traveled over the holidays? Can I see your hand? A lot of you. I know that. We were down in Florida and it was 86 degrees, and then we left Florida and went to Indiana and it was 26 degrees. Fortunately, we had time to pack 2 suitcases, so that helped us that way. But we had a great time, and I'm glad you had a great time. Glad to see you back. Like you had a choice to come back, right? Okay. Well, we're glad you're back. So welcome this morning. This morning we're going to have a special speaker, and I asked Mr. Caslow, could I come and introduce him to you? Because this is going to be a little different than what you're used to. You have youth pastors come in, you have pastors come in. Well, this morning you're having a dentist come in. And you're all looking at me like, what? Dr. Caravas is over here. Dr. Caravas, would you raise your hand? Dr. Caravas is over here. Dr. Caravas is my dentist. He is the man who causes me pain. No, he doesn't, I promise you. He is the man who keeps me from having pain. And he has been my dentist for a lot of years, for Mrs. White and I. And last time I was in his office, you know, your dentist has you in a position. You know, you're in the chair, you've got your mouth open, and he's talking to me. I'm going, But one of the things we talked about after I finished, he said, I'd like to come over sometime and present something that I've done at Norfolk Christian. His children graduated at Norfolk Christian. I've already forgiven him for that, so that's okay. And I told him that they're a great sister school for us, and we have good relationships. And so I asked him, I said, would you come over and do that? And he said, sure, I'd love to do that. So we were able to get him scheduled, so he is away from his practice this morning and over to be able to speak to you. So we're going to sing one more song, and then he's going to come up and get started. But would you give him a welcome, a Gator welcome this morning? And so let's sing one more song, and then Dr. Travis will have you come.
No better word than from your lips. greater than him. You guys would take a seat.
Well, it is my delight to be here. I want to talk to you this morning about decisions. Think of all the decisions you make on a daily basis. This morning, you had to decide what time to wake up, what clothes to wear, how to do your hair, what to have for breakfast. And I'm praying you brush your teeth. I'm praying you guys brush your teeth before you came to school. There are 3 decisions you're going to make in your lifetime that are absolutely huge. If you get them right, you'll have a fantastic life. If you mess them up, you're going to struggle. But before I get to those 3 decisions, I want to talk to you about 2 decisions that I made that were really bad decisions. One happened in 1968 and one in 1969. I grew up in Portsmouth in 1968 in the summer. I'm 12 years old, and my best friend Gary and I are hanging out in the garage. We're totally bored. So we go up into the attic, and we're looking up around in the attic, and we find this metal box. And we open the metal box, and inside are 22 bullet shells. They're not really powerful, but they'll kill you. They're somewhat powerful. So we find these bullets. Now, if girls find bullets in the attic, what happens? Mom, there are bullets in the attic. Call the CIA, call the DA, run, leave the house. But boys are different than girls. Girls, you all know that boys are a little different than you. We have testosterone. You all know that. But what you may not know is testosterone comes from the Greek word testosterone, which means stupid hormone. The stupid hormone. You go on YouTube and see what boys are doing on YouTube? They do stupid things. So Gary and I, we take these bullets downstairs, we put it on my workbench, where my father had the workbench. What are we going to do? What did 2 12-year-old boys do with bullets? Well, we decide, we have this brilliant idea, we're going to put one in the vise. There's a vise, you crank it, grabs things. And we decided to put one in the vise and hit it with a hammer. It's a fantastic decision. So somehow I'm elected to hit the bullet with the hammer. So I remember picking the hammer up, and my friend Gary, who evidently was a little smarter than me, he gets behind me. So I hit the bullet with the hammer. Well, you know what happens when you hit a bullet with a hammer? Kaboom! It blows up. That's what happens. Part hit me in the chest, part hit me above the eye. Not bad, just some shrapnel. So I'm bleeding. My mom comes out, I lie, tell her I fell up in the attic. Well, of course, we told all our friends. A week later, my parents found out. We got in really big trouble. That was a really bad decision. Bad decision, boys. Okay, so do not put a bullet in the vise and hit it with a hammer. That was the first bad decision. The second bad decision came a year later, 1969. I'm now in middle school. We call it junior high. So I went to Harry Hunt on High Street. It's where the Norcom High School currently sits. It was a 4-story building, had to be 100 years old. It's where little shrimpy kids went to die. It was really bad. And I'm in 7th grade, so I am probably 4'8", weigh about 85 pounds. One of my friends, Joe, he's even smaller. He's like 4'6", 70 pounds. So we play in the band. I play the trumpet, and he played the oboe, whatever that is. So one day after practice, we're out in the street waiting to take the bus. It's just he and I out there, we're hanging out. And we said, well, let's go ahead and get ready for the bus to be here soon. So we go to the curb, and all our stuff is laying there. And Joe looks down and says, hey, where are my thumbtacks? Where are my thumbtacks? There used to be a Sears and Roebuck across the street, and he had walked over during lunch and bought a bag of thumbtacks. 29 cents. Thumbtacks, 29 cents. So they're gone. So this little kid over there says, those guys over there, they took them. So we look. And these 4 really big guys, really big guys across the street. So to me, this was a really easy decision. 29-cent thumbtacks, just let them go. But to my horror, I hear Joe in his squeaky voice, hey, you guys bring me my thumbtacks. He starts screaming at these 4 guys. So they look over and decide, should we go over and kill these guys? So they decide they are. So these 4 guys start to sashay across the street. Well, I'm dying. I am dying. My mouth heart is pounding out on my chest. They're walking over towards us. Now, I know you're supposed to back up your friend, be there for him, but there was really no need for both of us to die. Really, there was no need. Did I mention he played the oboe? He played the oboe. I mean, so I took my trumpet case and moved it about 20 feet away and sat there and looked the opposite way, just praying they would not kill me as well. And so they came over, I heard them talk to him, and I hear this whack. I turn and I look. Now Joe's laying on the ground, holding his head, saying, "Give me my watch back, give me my watch back." That was a really bad decision on Joe's part. So if someone steals your thumbtacks, just let him go, let him go. So those are 2 bad decisions. But there are 3 you're going to make over your lifetime, and you're making them right now that will forever change your life. Forever change your life. And they are master, mission, mate. Master, mission, mate. Who will be your master? Who will be your mission? Who will be your mate? Those are the 3 big ones. So let's take them in order. The first one is master. Master. All of you here have a master. You worship something. There's something that's very important to you. Now you may be saying, "I don't have a master. I don't have a master." Oh, would you be lying? You'd be wrong. Let's look at the Old Testament. Look at the 10 Commandments. The 10 Commandments. Nobody knows the 10 Commandments in America. Well, the first one, you know what the first one is? If you think about it, get it in your mind. It's not love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. It is, you shall have no other gods before me. Remember that? You shall have no other gods before me. Seems kind of lame, but it's number 1 on the list. And usually number 1 is the most important. Well, notice what it doesn't say. It doesn't say, Greenbrier Christian, A, get yourself a God, and B, make it me. The Bible skips the first part because the Bible assumes that you're already worshiping something. The Bible assumes you've made something your ultimate treasure, and the Bible will be true. All of you here worship something. Matter of fact, all of you have a top 3. You have a top 3 in your heart, 3 things that you worship. So I'm going to throw out some items. See if some of these are not in your top 3. Okay? See if these are not in your top 3. It could be God. God could be someone you worship. It could be family. It could be friends. It could be a boy, a girl, good grades, good looks, sports, money, pleasure, electronics. Some of those things are probably in your top 3. Now, there's nothing wrong with good looks, with sports, with good grades. The problem is this. The problem is when you take a good thing and you make it your one thing. You take a good thing and you make it your one thing, your most precious thing. So, for example, this is how it plays out. Let's say your one thing, or let's say what's important to you, good grades. That's your thing here at Greenbrier. You're really into your grades and you do quite well here. Well, let's say you leave here, you go on to college, you take your first major test, and you study pretty hard for it. And you get back the results and you flunk it. You get an F. You get an F on your first test. How do you handle this? Well, if good grades is number 3 or 4 on your list, you'll be upset, but you'll be okay. But if good grades is your one thing, it's your ultimate treasure, you're going to go into a depression. You won't come out of your room for 2 days. Or let's say you're dating. Let's say, girls, you're dating some guy and you just love him. He's so wonderful. He's perfect. You love the gap between his front teeth. You just love him. You love the boy. And you see yourself getting engaged, getting married, having kids, and you just see it all the way down the road because you're so in love. And tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock, you get a text from him, "We're done. I'm dating Susan now." You get this text. Don't do that, boy. How do you handle this? Well, it depends. If he was number 3 on your list, obviously you're going to be upset, but you'll get on. You'll be okay. But if he is your one thing, your ultimate treasure, you're going to be crushed. You're going to be absolutely crushed, and you will contemplate suicide. You will contemplate suicide. And just on a side note, you probably have heard this, suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. So, the Bible is saying this. Look, this is the big point on the first one, on master. You guys are going to attach your heart to something. You're going to worship something. I'm here to tell you that all the things in this world are going to let you down. Whether it's the money or it's pleasure, or it's electronics or sports or a career or whatever it is, everything will eventually let you down. The only thing that will never let you down is God. He's the only one. You will not find ultimate purpose or peace in your job, in money, in sports, electronics. You won't find it. You're going to only find it in God. He's the only one that will ever let you down. So, it's okay to love the stuff. It's okay to love electronics and sports, a boy, a girl. That's fine. But make God your ultimate treasure, your number 1. Make him your one thing, because he's the one thing that will never, ever fail you. Everything else will eventually fail. He's the only one that will never let you down. You need to make him your master. Now, you might be saying, well, once I get a little further down the road, it's going to be fine. Once I get out of this school, away from these teachers, away from my parents, I get out, I get a job, I'm going to get the boy or the girl, I'm going to get stocks and bonds and a mortgage and a 401k, whatever that is, then it's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. Well, I'm down that road. I'm all the way down the road. I've got the girl. She's right over there. I got the girl. I've got a mortgage. I've got stocks and bonds. And I'm here to tell you it's not enough. It is not enough. It will not give you a purpose for life. You need something more. Muhammad Ali said it best. Remember Muhammad Ali? He was a heavyweight champion boxer all through the 60s and the early 70s. Muhammad Ali had everything that you want. He had incredible fame. At one point in his career, he was the second most recognized name on the face of the planet. Jesus was number one, Muhammad Ali was number two. He had lots and lots of money, all the women he wanted. He had everything you want. He had it all. Well, I saw a Sports Illustrated article on him in the late 70s. He was retired. And they interviewed him at his home. And after the interview, Muhammad Ali took the reporter to his backyard, and he had a shed there. It's actually more like a little barn that he had built. And he hadn't been in there in quite a while. And in that barn were all his trophies, all the trophies he had earned when he was a boxer. And unbeknownst to Muhammad Ali, a hole had opened up in the back of that barn, and pigeons had gotten in there. And they were all over the place inside this barn. And there on a table were all his trophies lined up. And over all his trophies, all this pigeon poop, all over his trophies. And he sat there and he looked at that, and he looked at the reporter, and he said, I had the whole world, and it was nothing. I had the whole world, and it was nothing. So the first point is master. You're going to decide what is your ultimate treasure, what you're going to attach your identity to. And I'm telling you, make God your ultimate treasure, your one thing. After that, love your other things. It's okay. Enjoy them. They're there for your pleasure. But make God your ultimate treasure, because everything else will disappoint you. Okay, so that's number one. The second one, mission. Master a mission, mate. Your mission, your career. I've got 3 points with this. I've got some spiritual thoughts, practical thoughts, and an app you can use to figure out your career. Spiritual, practice, and an app. So let's do the first one, spiritual. Some people will tell you, look, God has one career. You got to find the one career God wants you to find. You got to figure it out. It's got one career for you. And I would suggest to you, maybe for some of you that's true. Maybe he wants you to be a nurse, a teacher, a dentist, a minister. Maybe he has the one thing for you. But I think for most of you, I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares what you do. God's more concerned in who you are than what you do. He's more concerned in who you are than what you do. He wants your heart. If he has your heart, he'll use you wherever you are. Martin Luther said it best. He said, love the Lord, your God, with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and then do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. Because if he has your heart, he'll use you where you are. We're the sheep and Jesus is the shepherd. If you watch a shepherd, he leads the sheep into a field, but he doesn't say, now you eat this clump, and you eat that clump, and you eat that clump. He doesn't tell them. He lets them choose the clump. So I think God lets you choose your own career. But I will say this. In Colossians 3, Paul says, whatever you do, work as unto the Lord and not unto men. Work as unto the Lord and not unto men. So you're going to get out here and you're going to have a boss, probably, eventually. And what you need to think of, you got your boss, but your real boss is God. You need to work as unto God. If you'll do that, your earthly boss will be quite happy. So that's the spiritual thoughts on career, on mission. Now here's some practical advice. Some of you already kind of know what you want to do. You kind of know what your career, you kind of selected something. There's a good chance you're probably going to change it. Most people change it. And that's fine. That's fine. But tell me if this doesn't sound good to you. All right, how about this? How about a job that has these 4 things? One is a job that really engages you. A job that uses your skills and your passions. You just really like going to work on Monday morning. A job that you work with a team of people, you love working with them. Few hours, you don't have to work a lot of hours, and pays really well. Let's say over $100,000 with great benefits. Does that sound like a good job, a good career? That's a great. Well, there are a lot of those out here in America. There's lots of sweet careers. They're out here. Now, here's the problem, though. You've been told since you were 3 years old by your Uncle Joe and your Aunt Betty, you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. Well, they lied to you. That's not true. That's not true. Because they didn't give you the whole sentence. The whole sentence is, you can do whatever you want if you work your tail off. If you work your tail off. Because some of you are here and you really are working quite hard, but some of you are not. I asked 6 teachers, high school teachers in the last 6 months, what percent effort you guys are giving. This is not from this school, different schools. What percent effort overall, in general, to all your classes, what percent effort you're giving? And the answer they gave me was between 30 and 50%. 30 and 50%, that's what you guys are doing. Now, I don't know if that's true, but that's what they told me. Because some of you here, you're 100%ers. You're really working hard. You go to class, you study, you prepare, you work hard. But some of you are 50%ers and some of you are 20%ers. So if you're here and you're a 20%er, and you're thinking you're going to get one of those sweet jobs, you need to give that up. That's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. I'll give you an analogy. Let's say, I know baseball is big here at Greenbrier. Let's say you try out for the baseball team and you make the baseball team. You make the baseball team. And then you proceed to go to 0 practices. You don't go to a single practice. All the practices are up. It's now opening day, and you show up with your new uniform and your shiny glove, and you go to Coach Lavelle and say, here I am, put me in. Put me in, Coach. Is he going to put you in? He's not putting you in. You're sitting the bench. You're sitting the bench. Well, you guys here that are 20%ers or 30%ers, if you're thinking you're going to get out into the world and say, here I am, put me in, you're not going to get one of the sweet jobs. You're going to get one of the middle or one of the low jobs. That's the way it's going to go. Now, I got a quote. I really like this quote. See if you can get this quote. It says, sometimes the difference between the have and have-nots are the did and did-nots. Sometimes the difference between the have and have-nots are the did and did-nots. You Americans hate that line. So if I looked at your grades, if I got a copy of your transcripts right now, particularly you juniors and seniors, now I will see some of you at the top 20% of the class and some of you at the bottom 20%. Now, education is tricky, and I realize some of you take harder classes than others. Some people learn better than others. For some people, school is easy. But overall, in general, those of you that have the good grades at the top did the work. And those of you that have not the good grades at the bottom did not do the work. That's probably a fair assessment. That's probably fair. So I'm not here to be Debbie Downer. I'm not here to be Debbie Downer, but I'm here to say, hey, become a 100%er. Work, become 100%. It doesn't seem that hard to me, but this is how I see school. You go to class, they give you this thing called a book. You take the book home. This is what you do. This is what you do. You look at the information. You copy it into your brain. You go back to school, and they give you some paper. It's called a test. You paste information from your brain onto the paper. You put it back on the paper. You turn the paper into the teacher, and she gives you an A. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. You copy and paste. You just copy the information and paste it onto the test. It's not that hard. Now, it may take you hours to learn the information, but it's just basically copy and paste it. Anyone can do that. I have seen you guys play those stupid video games. You spend hours playing them. I have no idea how to do those things. Those things are impossible. If you can do these video games, you can copy and paste at school. It's not that hard. You can do that, guys. You can do that. So here's the point. Here's my big point, all right? This is on career. Here's the big point. The decisions you're making right now, whether you're applying yourself, the person you're becoming, your work ethic, your people skills, the person you're becoming will ultimately determine whether you get a sweet career, a medium career, or a low career. You have no idea, but you're deciding right now which level you're going to end up on by the decisions you're making. If you're a 100%er, I'm pretty certain you're going to do quite fine. You're going to be at the top. But you guys are doing 50, 20%, you just need to lower your expectations. You need to lower your expectations. And some of you might say, well, education, education. You know, D's get degrees. D's get degrees. You know, whatever. I'm going to do what I want. That's fine, but if you do that, you're going to become an alumni of VCU. You guys know VCU? It's in Richmond, Virginia Commonwealth University. Well, there's a second VCU. There's a second VCU, and that is Victim Card University. Victim Card. You guys are going to play the victim card. Well, I didn't get a good grade because she didn't test us on what she said she was going to test, or she doesn't like me, or he's a bigot, or he's racist, or he's sexist, and you're going to play that victim card all your life. Greenbrier, don't end up in a roadside ditch. Don't play the victim card. Apply yourself, work hard, and become the person you need to be. It's not that hard to be, because the decisions you're making right now will ultimately decide, again, your career. I'm telling you, decide your career path. Don't blow off school. Don't blow it off. All right, so that's the second point. We did practical advice, spiritual advice. Now the third one is an act. It's an act. I've got a great app. I mean, it's spot on. If you look at this app, and it's easy to remember, it really helps you select a career. It's fantastic. You're going to love this app. All right? It's called parents.com. Your parents, you know those old people you live with? It turns out they're not so dumb. They're not that dumb. They might not know a lot, but you know what they're an expert on? They're an expert on you. They're an expert. They know you better than anyone else. Now, it may not be a parent. It could be an aunt or uncle. It could be a coach. It could be a teacher. It could be a neighbor. But you would be crazy not to go talk to an adult that knows you and say, hey, what do you see me doing? What career path do you think I should take? What do you think I should do? You'd be surprised. They might know a little more than you think. So, master mission mate. We just did mission, your career. Spiritual advice, do your work as unto the Lord. Practical advice, become a 100%er. Please work hard. Apply yourself. Become the person you need to be. And third, talk to someone. Talk to a parent. Talk to a neighbor. All right, so master mission mate. Now we're on to mate, the third one. Most of you here will get married. Most of you are going to get married. Now your wedding day is just fantastic. It's like no other. It's just fan. You get all dressed up. All your friends or family are there. You go before a preacher. He marries you. You walk down the aisle. There's a big party, lots of food. All your friends are there. You leave. They throw stuff at you, and you ride off into your honeymoon. It is fantastic. It's a day you will never forget. Your parents will never forget it because it's going to cost them $1 gazillion. But it's a great day. You guys are going to love your wedding day. It's fantastic. But here's the problem. Fast forward 20, 25 years. Well, now our two little lovebirds that were so madly in love on their wedding day, if you fast forward 25 years, 50% will be divorced. They will hate each other. They'll hate each other. And 50% of the other 50% will be living together, but they won't have much of a relationship. Which means, as I look out at you guys, 1 out of 4 of you will have a successful marriage. Only 1 out of 4 of you will have a successful marriage. That's probably right. That's statistically true. Now, why? Why is that? There's a lot of reasons, but I'll tell you one of the biggest reasons is the way we're selecting our mates. Most of you guys are using the Samson theory. Remember Samson and Delilah in the Old Testament? So Samson was a Jew, an Israelite, and God gave him great power through the Holy Spirit, and his power was in his hair, if you remember. And if you remember, he met Delilah and figured that out and cut his hair. But before Delilah, there was another girl. Samson was at some party. He meets this girl. She's a Philistine girl. That's no. Israel and Philistines do not get together. So he meets this girl, and he goes back to his parents, and you can read it in the Bible, in Judges 14:3. He says to his parents, get her for me, she looks good to me. Get her for me, she looks good to me. And that's how we're picking mates here in America. You guys, he's hot, she's gorgeous, I want him, I want her, and that's how we're picking mates. Now that's fine for picking bananas in the grocery store, but it's a terrible way to pick a mate. It's a terrible way to pick a mate. So I've got a formula that if you follow my formula, I guarantee you'll have a great marriage. I guarantee it. If you follow my formula and it doesn't work, I will pay for your wedding. I will pay for your wedding. I promise. I'm lying. I'm not paying for your wedding. But I've got this formula, so I think you're going to like it. Okay, it's called, you ready? It's called Frank Hates Ballparks. Frank Hates Ballparks. All right? Frank Hates Ballparks. FHBP. Frank Hates Ballparks. See, this is what it stands for. It's an acronym. The F. The F stands for you want to marry someone who's a friend, someone you like being with, someone you enjoy their company, someone you don't have to change your personality when you're with them. Sometimes you have to change your personality. You want to be able to be yourself. Someone that you sometimes get lost in conversation. You get on the phone call and the time just goes by. Someone, if I said, hey, I want you to get in the car and travel 4 days with them cross country, you would hopefully say, great, we'll have a great time. As opposed to saying, could we fly? I don't really want to be in a car with them for 4 days. That would kill me. So friendship. You want to marry someone who's a friend, someone you like being with. That's huge. Frank hates ballparks. H. The H stands for, and this is the big problem. This is the one that causes most divorces from what I can tell. You want to marry someone who's healthy. Healthy, not just physically, but I'm talking more healthy overall. Healthy emotionally, relationally, healthy with giving, healthy with forgiveness, healthy with conflict resolution, healthy with money, just overall a healthy person. Of course, this assumes you're a healthy person. A healthy person, that's really important. Because sometimes you'll meet someone and there'll be huge flags, but because you're so in love, they're hot, they're gorgeous, you just ignore it. That will come back and bite you. That is a bad thing to do. That is not a good decision. healthy. Marry someone who's healthy. And if you're not healthy, get some help. Talk to someone. See a counselor. Talk to your pastor. Get better. You need to be a healthy adult if you want to have a healthy marriage. Frank hates ballparks. The B. The B stands for a believer. You want to marry a believer. Now, all of you have an operating system in your heart, like the computers do. If you use, as my uncle says, the computer machine, all computers have an operating system. If you use a PC, it's probably Microsoft Windows. If you use a Mac, it's OS 10. They sometimes call it Mountain Lion, but OS 10. These are totally different operating systems. If you put them together, you know what happens to the computer? It crashes. That's what happens. It crashes. So, you as a believer, I'm hoping you're a believer, you have an operating system in your heart. An operating system it helps you decide everything that you do. Like, if you have a test today, if you're going to cheat on that test. If you're driving, if you're going to break the speed limit. Do you listen to your parents? Are you honest? Do you have integrity? How you're going to handle money? How you're going to handle sex? How you're going to handle alcohol? That all comes out of your operating system. You each have one, and you're developing it now. So, if you, as a believer, have this operating system, like the Windows, and you meet someone who's a non-believer, they have a different operating system, like the Mac, and you try to put them together, it's going to crash. Your relationship's going to crash. It's not going to work. You need to find someone that has the same operating system that you have. If you're a believer, marry someone who's a believer. It's really huge, huge. Frank hates ballparks, so we got friendship, we have healthy, we have believer, and then we have P. And the P stands for, yes, pretty. Someone that's attracted to you, physically attracted. However, I don't mean you have to marry a supermodel, okay? There's people on the magazine covers, they're not real people, they're aliens. I'm telling you, there's not real people on the cover of this magazine, they're aliens. Only 5% of Americans look like the people on those magazine covers. 95% look like you and I, just average people. And no one has ever come and offered me a contract to be a supermodel. No one. It's not going to happen. So, beauty comes in all different sizes and shapes. All sizes and shapes. If you don't have a supermodel body, it's okay. You're going to be fine. There's somebody out there with you. Now, that doesn't mean to go out and eat a dozen donuts for lunch today and just let yourself go. But just realize you guys are just affixed with beauty. It's like it's the one thing. And I'm telling you, it's a small part of the relationship. It's a small part of the relationship. There's someone out there for you. Look your best, but realize you don't have to be a supermodel. It's okay. So Frank hates ballparks. Friendship, healthy, a believer, and pretty. Those are the 4 things. I believe if you get those 4 things, you will have a great marriage. I think you'll have a fantastic marriage. So I got married 20 years ago to sweet Cindy. And I didn't realize it at the time, but that's what I was looking for. Frank hates ballparks. Well, I got Frank hates ballparks with Cindy. And we've had a great marriage. It's been a great journey. It's like the best decision I ever made. It's a fantastic decision. And you guys can do the same. But you got to get Frank hates ballparks. Okay? I don't care if she's hot. I don't care if he's gorgeous. I'm telling you, it's not enough. You got to get all 4. All right? If you remember nothing else of this talk, you got to do Frank hates ballparks. I'm telling you, you got to do it. Because if you don't, you're going to be miserable someday. You're going to be 3 out of the 4 that have a failed marriage. Now, on the Frank hates ballparks, let me back up and say this. No one's a 10 all the way across the board. You're not going to find 10s. You'll never get married if you're looking for 10s. You need, on a scale of 1 to 10, you need at least 6 or above on those 4 categories. 7 will be better, but 6 or above. So if you meet someone and they're like an 8, a 2, a 9 and a 9, punt the relationship. Let it go. Or if they're like a 9, a 10, a 1, and a 10, I don't care if they're hot or gorgeous, let them go. Let them go. It's a bad idea. It's a bad decision. Bad decision. All right. So, your 3 big decisions are master, mission, mate. Master, mission, mate. You're making these decisions right now. The master is what you treasure, what's most important to you. The mission is, are you a hard worker, the person you're becoming, and the mate, Frank hates ballparks. If you get those 3 decisions right, you will have you'll have a great life. I promise you, you'll have a fantastic life. Now, some of you may be saying, what is this middle-aged balding guy talking about? You know, I don't know, what is he talking about? You know, I'm 18 years old and I know what I'm doing. I am 18 years old and I know what I'm doing, which is truly an oxymoron when we hear you say that. 18 years old and I know what I'm doing. Now listen, you're right, you don't have to listen to me, you don't have to listen to your parents, to your teachers, you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want, but here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. Pay attention. Here's the kicker. You can only do it once. You can only do it once. You can't get to my age and realize I've made some really bad decisions. I've made some really bad decisions and I am miserable. I am absolutely miserable. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll just hit the reset button and just play it over like a video game. There's no reset button in life. You get one chance at it. So a Greenbrier Christian, choose wisely. On master mission mate, choose wisely. Your life will be totally affected by it. So in the words of Dr. Marty in Back to the Future, he said, Marty, it's your future, make it a good one. I say, Greenbrier Christian, it's your future, make it a great one, make it a godly one. Go Gators.
Thank you, Dr. Caravas, for being here. You know, I was sitting here listening to him, and just right before Christmas, I was in your leadership class, and we were talking about Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas being here a few years back. And as you were talking, I was thinking about his comments to our student body were very similar to your comments today. And here's what I would say to you. If somebody pulled you aside, especially those of you that are seniors sitting here, if somebody pulled you aside today and said, I'm going to take you in for 35 minutes and I am going to give you a fail-proof plan. And if you follow that 35 minutes of advice, your life's going to be successful. Well, you just got it. Seriously, you just got a fail-proof plan for success. And it really is that simple. The problem that you and I and all of us go through is that we think we know better than the plan. But I want to tell you something, and I've been here since the start of Greenbrier. I can go back right now. In fact, just this week, I talked to two of our graduates who were the 20%ers. Their marriages are washed out. Their jobs are very poor. They're struggling to even pay for an apartment. And as they said to me, there have been times when I just want to go jump off a bridge. These are kids who sit right where you're sitting right now, who heard some of the same comments and speakers who have come across this floor. And what he is saying to you is very accurate and very true. There are some of you that are freshmen and sophomore and juniors right now that you're in that 50% and below, and you're just coasting along saying, I would rather go out on the weekend and do what I want to do than I would crack the books. Prepare yourself. Because you're going to have plenty of time to go out on the weekend and do what you want to do at 35 and 40 and 45 years old. You do not get to the top by not studying to go to the top. That's a very great comment. His comment on master is very, very good. We all have a master of some kind. I was watching a program this weekend. I don't know if somebody, every once in a while they have these programs, and they had these people that weighed over 500 pounds. Okay, and they were talking about how they were trying to deal with that. And they had this one young man, and he couldn't get up. All he could do was lay back. And he said to the reporters talking to him, I just love food. I got you where I just love food. And he started talking about how much he ate. And then as he went through this, the reporter said to him, and what has that food done for you? And he said, it has become my master. I don't play ball anymore. I don't have friends anymore. I don't go to church anymore. I don't go to the theater because I don't fit in the seats. I can't walk. It has become my master. And it kind of goes along with what Dr. Caravas said. If we choose the wrong master, it's still a master. So you've gotten really great advice this morning. So I hope that you've listened well and that you've taken notice of what he has shared with you. And I thought it was really important. You have lots of people come in and speak. I think it's really important to have Dr. Caravas and professionals like him to come in and say some of those things to you that we've been saying to you, the Bible's been saying to you, but sometimes it's important for you to hear from people that are out here already a professional, already doing what some of you have desired to do. And so thank you, Dr. Caravas, very much for that encouragement and for those comments. Would you thank him for being here today?
That was a really good word. Thank you. If you guys want to stand and join with us as we finish up, sing this last song. Lord, I come. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, now I need you. Sing runs deep, your grace is more, where grace is found, is where you are, and where you are, Lord, I am free. Holiness is Christ in me, yes, where you are, Lord, I am free. Holiness is Christ in me. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. So teach my soul to rise to you. And when temptation comes my way, and when I cannot stand, I'll fall on you. Jesus, you're my hope and stay. And when I cannot stand, I'll fall on you. And Jesus, you're my hope and stay. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. Lord, I need you. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. My one defense, my one thank you for your love and for your grace. We thank you for the message that has been brought today. God, as I've listened, it's confirmed in my life and in my experience that everything that he has said is true, God. Lord, I do pray that for any of us in here who are not quite on point with any of those things, God, that we would begin to take our trust off ourselves and onto you. God, as this song confesses, we need you. God, and we need you, and we know that your plans are for our good and for your glory. So God, we could expect great things as we place our hope and our weight on what you have said. And I pray that we would be doing that even now today. We pray this in Christ's name. Amen. You guys are dismissed.